There was once a day that I would pray for you. I'd go and misbehave just so you'd notice too. Sneaking looks up and down from across the room. And damn, what a hell of a view. I feel good, you look great, I like you, I can't wait. A first time, a first date. You're so fine, I'm so late. You sip wine, I drink straight. Don't waste time to my place. I feel my heart erase. So catch me if I fall. I'm falling fast, sitting here praying that this night's gonna last. You got it all on tap, I'm loving your vibe, always have your back. We like all the same tracks, listen all night in the sheets all black. Said I'm falling fast, don't remember life before you, that's fact. I feel good, you look great, I like you, I can't wait. A first time, a first date. You're so fine, I'm so late. You sip wine, I drink straight. Don't waste time to my place. I feel my heart erase. So catch me if I fall.
Hey, party people. Happy Saturday. Darren here from Auto Fetish Detail. Today, like every other time, I'm joined by my co-host, Sean from Shine Like a Pro AZ. Sean, say hello.
um, so that was pretty funny. I sorry, I got caught off guard. I was so focused on you that I lost it
That's what
there.
she said.
Yeah. All right. So this is my part, and yeah, I'm editing it right now. But
This is new territory for you, Sean. Normally, you do not laugh much.
no,
You're not really a big laugher.
not really.
Yeah.
All right. So
Go ahead.
sorry, I wasn't prepared. Yeah, whatever. Okay.
Whatever.
Yeah.
So you were going to explain the channel. So if you're
Yeah.
watching this on my channel, I am Darren, as I've told you, with Auto
Yeah.
Fetish Detail.
Um,
But there's this whole other audience watching us live from Sean's channel on YouTube, which is Shine Like a Pro AZ. How did I do, Sean?
You did great. Actually, that's perfect. The only thing I was going to add to that would just show the channels. That's basically it.
And how? But that's only something you can do because you're at
Yeah.
the control desk. You're at the ground control.
Yes.
Hello, ground control. Are you receiving hello rockets in?
I wish I could sing, but I can't. So there's my channel, Auto Fetish Detail Fetish, because I have a fetish for cars and cleanliness and organization. And
Yes.
then your channel, Sean, there it is, Shine Like a Pro AZ. Oh, wait, I mean AZ. Because
Yes.
Sean is coming to us live from Arizona
That's
in
correct.
the great US of A. And Arizona is a state of the USA, in case you're a foreigner and you're tuning in and you don't understand the logistics or the geographical zones of the United States. The USA is broken down into states. Arizona is one of them, which is directly adjacent to California, correct, Sean? Because it goes California, Arizona, and New Mexico, right?
Yeah, I was looking. And then there's Jeff in the comments.
Oh, Jeff. Hey, man.
Yes.
I know we
Yeah.
have not met, and Sean has been telling me much about you, and I have watched a couple of your videos. Yes, Vegas in the house. I've watched a couple of your videos. I would say that you and I have a lot in common.
Yeah. I agree.
And then we've got,
Sorry.
apparently the mobile detail shop knows Jeff at Top Star.
Yep.
Right on. Like, or this community, like so many other communities, you tend to get people that become well known. It's like your own little tribe of people. So anyhow, did you want to add anything else to that, Sean, other than introducing your channel and kind of making a distinction for our happy viewers in viewerland?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that if you guys find any value from any of our live streams or any of our channels, please hit the subscribe button and like this video so other people it can get a bigger reach and other people can see it. Really appreciate it. And that's it.
I love when we have to pander to the algorithms. And even if you didn't get any value, seeing how you're here, hit the damn like button anyways. How about that?
Yeah, well, we really appreciate it.
Sean really appreciates it. I myself, I also appreciate it.
Yeah, so it looks like this Saturday is not many people on the there we go. Hold on a second. Yeah, so Jeff is going to join us hopefully on Saturday, next Saturday.
Yeah,
and he'll be most likely a special guest on our live stream, which I know Darren and I are very excited to have him on.
Yeah, I've got a whole litany of questions I want to ask. What?
Let me do this real quick while you talk. Go on. I'm sorry, I didn't interrupt you.
Oh yes, I was just saying I have a whole litany of questions that I would love to ask you, Jeff, for a lot of reasons. One, you're working in one of the extreme environments of the USA called Vegas, which is very similar to Southern California, where I have been based for 35 plus years, except Vegas is more extreme. You get more extreme heat, more extreme cold, and if you want to call it an extreme, you get more extreme low humidity, which I'm a fan of. I love low humidity. Also, you are 50 years of age or maybe a little older, because I was watching one of your videos.
I think he's 51. I think he's 51.
Yeah, I was just going to add that video might be old enough where maybe he's now 51, which is still late in the game to be starting. You're not alone. In fact, there's another guy in Vegas. His name's Al. Unlikely you two would have crossed paths. Al is 70, and he has just started recently. And so I'm doing quite a bit to mentor Al as he ramps up and gets busier and goes through this painful learning curve that we know as beginners. Looks like you're also into the gym and being healthy and fit. So we have that in common. You started mostly from scratch. Sounds like you have a bit of a history, as in what often we are called like a driveway detailer or a hobbyist. So it sounds like you dabbled prior, because if I recall in that video, you said you always had an interest in it. You reached the age of 50-ish and you still hadn't done anything with it. And you thought, why not? So there's that. And then you can bring perspective because you've lived it at least long enough now, over a year. You've grown it from nothing. It would, all indicators suggest. So there's a lot I think I could pull out of you that would benefit guys that are thinking about starting it, maybe have recently started, or maybe they've started and they've been at it a while and they're struggling to deal with things, deal with customers, customer expectations. How do you work, for example, in the direct sunlight? That's another thing. Because I was looking at your website and looking at the different services that you offer, specifically like ceramic coatings, which I know is, well, literally everything is more problematic when you're working in the direct sun in very hot temperatures. Now, I didn't watch a lot of your videos. I think I watched a couple of them. I noticed that you weren't using a canopy. Now, based on the time of the season, that's going to be more critical versus less critical. And people often question me, mostly it was my customers. They're like, oh, why don't you use a canopy? I'm like, because I don't want to use a canopy. That's one more thing I got to deal with.
Before you keep saying anything, Darren, hey, Brian, how's it going?
Hey, Brian. Welcome back. Hello, Brian. Yes, hello, guys. So, yes, Canopy is kind of like my customers. And I bet you run into this, Jeff, where customers offer their garage to you. Like, hey, you can pull the car in and work in the garage, which has its benefits, which is you are out of the direct sunlight. But because there's no or next to zero wind current inside of a garage compared to just exposed outside of the garage, it's actually hotter
Well,
because there's
actually,
no. Go ahead, Sean.
he actually does have a storage unit that he'll use in the summertime sometimes.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
and he'll
it's a
detail cars in the storage unit.
yeah, it's like I believe it's used to store RVs,
Okay.
and that's where he stores. I believe like he's mentioned in a video. And Jeff, if you're still on, correct me if I'm wrong, but you said something along the ways that you use a storage unit to do paint corrections, or you do like ceramic coatings in the summertime. It gets too hot. I'm not sure that if it has air conditioning or not, but I'm just saying that he mentioned that in one of his videos.
Yeah.
So I've seen a lot of his videos. I was up all night
Yeah.
watching his videos. So
Yeah. You have a new avid fan already, Jeff.
yeah,
So yes, there's a lot of I believe a lot of useful information I could pull out of your experience as a detailer there in Vegas. Anyhow,
anyway, I want to move on from that. So, Jeff, thank you for watching the live stream. Feel free to stick around if you want. If not, then you have to go. You got to go. But I'm excited to hopefully have you on next Saturday, and yeah, we'll go from there. And that's it. So I was thinking, Darren, and either we can watch some shorts until more people can join in. Um,
you know how
and
much I love those shorts.
I know you do. I know they're your favorite thing in the planet, and this is the only reason why I have it on.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it might be the second or third thing on the planet that I like,
yeah,
just
I know.
to correct.
I know.
But yeah,
Good. Just until people fill in and ask questions. That's it.
a 700-pound full day detail on a Land Rover Defender. I was looking at that short on that screen that you're
Oh,
showing.
wait. Here we go.
The wind is a major factor. Yes, I do know that about Vegas. I didn't mention that. I know it's a bigger factor than where I live. Wind rarely is a huge factor for us. We have moments, but they're only moments. Let's see, for canopies, you have to weigh them down. Yeah, that's another point. Never mind that based on the size of the canopy, you're having to worry about, is it large enough where I can actually open the doors? And then, especially when it's your first time or first couple of times of setting up a canopy, and also every car is different. I mean, there's obviously some basic dimensions to them, but every car really is different. And it's like, oh, is it going to fit under the canopy? And how am I going to position it so I can actually open the doors? Or am I going to just bust out the canopy so I can do the exterior or the paint work? You're worried around those poles of the canopy itself. And then, for example, you got a canopy and you're just like, oh, you got a truck to do. And by the time you roll a truck in one of those, and then you're trying to do the top or the roof of the truck, if the truck actually fits underneath the canopy, there's almost no room to work on the top while you're still under the canopy. So suddenly you realize how you're constrained by this very device that's supposed to make your life better in the moment. So once again, there is no perfect answer. It's only a matter of trade-offs.
Well, he does say that he does use either his own garage or the customer's garage too.
Yeah, I was just reading that. Plus, it takes too much time to set up. See, that was one of the things that I thought, because I did use a canopy like literally maybe twice.
Yeah.
And I thought, man, is this really worth it? Because they can be, I mean, this is 30 years ago, because I did try one out when I first started. And I thought, man, this thing is heavy. That's all this extra weight I'm carrying around. I've got to pull it in and out, set it up as a one-man dude.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take much wind for it to kind of, tossle around. But I don't know. I just thought, is this really worth it? Obviously, I decided it wasn't because I didn't maintain using it. Yeah,
Right.
save it for next week. We have much to talk about. Super excited for it. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
I concur.
You guys can flex your muscles on the live stream at the same time.
Yeah, I think Jeff's just going to be a bigger flex than myself, but yes.
Well, you guys are. We talked about it. I said that I told him that you guys are different, like different physiques. You know what I mean?
What did he strip down naked for you or what, Sean?
That's exactly what he did for me, Darren. But no, I
Cool.
was saying like he's
Because
like
I
like
know I haven't done that for you. Not yet,
yes,
anyways.
that'd be weird. So anyways, like I just told him like he's like like bigger, but you're like leaner. What do you want to call it?
Yeah.
So, but anyways, all right. So let me go over here.
Did you pick out a short for us? A short where I can mock and praise, or praise and mock, or perhaps do both simultaneously?
Yeah, I'm going to different ones here that we haven't seen. Just the people jump in and ask questions or whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't really prepare that much about today's video because I thought I thought we were gonna have a guest on, but last minute it changed and I just kind of ran out of time.
Well, no big deal. It's not like we have a hard agenda any times.
No.
Discuss all the ins and outs of the world of detailing and how we love our new products and testing new tools and buffers. And it's just so satisfying.
Here we
Even
go.
if we're not a professional. Go ahead.
I got one.
Let's show you how to polish a car that's older than you. First things first, we need
It's
to clay
older
bar.
than me.
Spray,
That would be pretty
Glide.
damn old.
and finally, we wipe. Now it's
Kinda
time to
looked like
polish.
you didn't
We'll
even
grab our
wash
orange
that
pad,
thing
grab your
first.
C4 compound, 5 dots,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
blotch it out, then we spread it out.
See, that whole blotching out, like you do that in the direct sunlight, and
then
those little
we work it in
blotches are
on
going to
76.
basically flash dry on you. It's amazing how many people just regurgitate information from other non-experts on YouTube, and now they just, because enough of them do it, everyone looks like, oh, well, that's just the way you do it. That's how the pros do it. It's like, no,
Yeah.
it's not.
Yeah.
This pro has never done it that way. And if I have, it's been very kind of one-off moment. And I mean, really, if I'm doing that, it's probably because I accidentally applied too much polish to the pad. And rather than trying to like rub it into the pad with my finger or something, I'm just going to like blotch it around in a very tight area with the understanding that I'm not working in an environment where it's going to flash dry. Anyhow, I mean,
Yeah.
many would say I'm overthinking it, but that's what's interesting about running a business is when you run a business and you're actually trying to be profitable, you kind of have to overthink everything. And suddenly it's not overthinking. It's just called being strategic. So
Right.
you have to think about it and be strategic about it so that you can be profitable. And any guy that says, oh, I'm not worried really about, I just accept I'm starting out and I'm not really overthinking profitability, which could be a valid conclusion. But what I would tell them is that, you know what, at the end of the day, you are not doing this for fun. And I don't care how much you love cars and love polishing and love cleaning, that fun will wear out very quickly because it's hard work. So if you're not producing sufficient enough of the profits, you're not going to stick with it because the life will be sucked out of you. And so I get it where you got to pay your dues and you accept that you're not going to be as profitable starting out that you will 6 months or a year from the moment. You need to still be making money so that you can feel that added sense of victory by being a business owner. And then if you stick with it, you realize how everything is important to analyze because it will affect your bottom line, as the cliched saying goes. It's going to affect the bottom line. Hey, Humberto, buenas noches. Yes, buenos noches. That means a good evening, right, Sean?
Yes.
And I was talking about you today, Sean, to a friend of mine from the gym, coincidentally. And I said, I always mess it up. What part of South America? Is it Argentine?
Peru.
Peru. And I said,
Yeah.
every time he says it, I always think it's the other country and I mess it up every time. Anyhow,
It's all right. Doesn't matter.
Peru. So I think he said, are the Peruvians the elitists that look down on the other?
I don't
Is
know.
that how it works?
I don't know.
You
But
don't
I was
know?
going to tell you that right now, we just had our first scammer come into the live stream.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I immediately blocked him.
Oh,
Oh.
how? So he didn't even pop up on the thing?
You can see him right now on the screen.
You mean by the Pifoffice?
Yeah.
Pifokpaki?
Yeah, I removed. Well, you can still see him, but I removed him. So
Well, so can I read it out loud?
go ahead.
Hey, homie, you stream so really well. That's why I followed you. I do see you streaming a lot, but yet still not affiliated and partnered. I got a proposal for you. I will share your stream to kick a community for you to hit. Oh, here we go. Yeah. Earn
Yeah,
nothing less than 1,000 per streaming and enable your sub button and add me on Discord if you're interested. Danny 45 or Danny H 45. I'm going to say pass.
Yeah, it sounds like AI generated or like really bad spelling. Like it just sounds like a foreigner wrote it.
I agree.
So I'm like, nah. Yeah, it made it as AI generated, but like they didn't proofread it. And
Well, that's where people like I get approached on Facebook and Instagram constantly from these marketers that want to help grow my channel,
yeah.
and they typically start out like this guy does with blowing sunshine up your butt and trying to float your ego. Oh, I really like what you're doing on your channel. I really like what I see you doing. You really have some good content, whatever. And then they go into their little lame sales pitch, and it's filled with all kinds of grammatical errors, typos, misspelling, run-on sentences. You name it, it's all there.
There's you got someone there. Say hi there.
Quorum. Wow, I'm not sure I know how to pronounce that.
It's okay, you don't have to butcher it. Just say the
Yeah.
first.
Welcome, Quorum. Assuming
Yeah.
that's a hard C versus a soft C. Sorum. I don't doubt it.
And then Jeff
Anyhow,
is saying,
welcome.
Yeah, pass on the scammer.
Pass, homie. Yeah.
And then Umberto
No bueno.
also saying scammers. But yeah, I actually get because I have a dedicated, as you know, email for this channel, and I get tons of scammers who email me. I just block them all. Oh wait, there you go. He knows who he is.
Oh wow. I don't know how you guys have time to connect and with everyone, because I know I don't. So Jeff knows Quorum with Solara Detail. Isn't that kind of a reference to the sun? Sol, just like lunar is reference to the moon.
I have no clue.
I'm just speculating. I'm going to ask AI.
Hey, Jeff, thank you for letting us know who he is, because I had no clue, but now I know for next time.
Yeah, now we know.
Yeah, it's kind of like Umberto. Umberto will educate us on different people on the chat every once in a while.
Yeah, Umberto seems to be well connected.
Yeah, he works for the Puerto Rican mob.
Oh, cool. Yeah, so for example, Solera, I'm a white boy, so who knows, I might be butchering it. Solar related references. So I was correct. It could be a creative name for inspired by the sun or soul, often used in businesses, products, or projects related to solar energy, which would be apropos because as detailers, we have to contend with the sun in working conditions, but as professionals, we are there as problem solvers for our customers so that we can apply protection in the form of different products to the paint, thereby protecting it from, wait for it, the sun.
He just responded to you, Darren.
Yes, LOL. Right on.
Here's one from Jeff.
Quorum challenged the top star to an arm wrestling match and was terribly humbled. So that would suggest that Quorum is there working in Vegas also. I was
There
having
he
a
is.
bad day. Yeah. I think Quorum wants a rematch,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah. You guys should live stream it.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, and see who wins, and that way the other one can't say that
Yeah,
that
no one can talk smack on someone
Yeah.
else without, yeah.
There you go.
I try to tell him that was a solar company name too. That's funny. Yeah. Apparently he didn't pay attention to your memo, Jeff. But still works, in my opinion. It still works. But yeah, there's probably 100 solar companies out there selling solar that have that name as part of their company name.
Oh yeah. One thing I was going to mention really quick about Jeff that was interesting is that he's originally from Rhode Island.
You know what? I don't know if I know a single person from Rhode Island.
Unfortunately, I do. Not unfortunately, but I know a couple here in
And
Arizona.
yeah, really? I'm literally I'm
Yeah.
thinking I can't even recall a single moment in my life where someone said, "Oh, I'm from Rhode Island," or "Oh,
Yeah.
I grew up in Rhode Island," like ever. I mean, obviously I've heard of it on movies and television, what have you, but not once from Rhode Island. It's kind of like you and your potential job, like Iowa. Not
Yeah.
once in my life have I ever heard anyone say, "Oh, I'm moving to Iowa."
I know.
Like
Yeah.
nobody moves to Iowa. Sorry if
Also,
you're here, you live in Iowa. Sorry to disparage your state, but I'm just saying I didn't create it.
I've been to Rhode Island 3 times.
Really?
So
Oh
yeah, I've
wait,
been
didn't you
there.
go there for like a training something or other?
Yeah, I went there twice and last year. I've been there twice last year. I
Yeah.
was there in the dead on winter when it was snowing, and I was there in the summer, and then I was there back in 2000. I think it's 2009. I was back there.
Yeah.
So I've been there 3 times. Here's a
Oh, I'm sorry.
yeah.
You guys from AZ, I lived in Gilbert for 18 years. Well, Sean, you either are right next door to Gilbert or within
Yeah.
a stone's throw.
We're neighbors. So
Yes.
I live in Chandler, which is next to Gilbert, and Darren lives in Orange County,
Which is in
California.
California.
Yeah, California.
So I'm a SoCal person. I've been to Gilbert. I've got actually a lot of friends that live there. I've been there once, years. Man, that was probably 25 years ago, maybe longer, because you know what? I think that was pre-children. Oh my gosh, that was so long ago. Ooh.
Hmm.
The biggest little state in the union, Lil Rhodey. Did not know that.
Hmm.
Well,
That's
right
funny.
on. Rhode Island. Yeah, I can't imagine the weather's too. I get it. People from back east, they say like, "Oh, I love the seasons. I love the changing of the seasons." And I'm thinking, I get it. I mean, I truly get the appeal. I've seen clips of this on movies,
Hmm.
like autumn or fall, the changing of the color to the leaves and what have you. And it does seem cool. And then you got spring where everything's coming back to life. But personally, I'm more of a 1 to 2 season person,
Yeah.
which is here in California. We kind of just have 1 season, borderline 2, because we get such little rain and we do not really have extremes as far as the temperature, the weather goes. So mostly it's just kind of like 1 season, which is mostly sunny. The more extreme would be if you go to like the tropics, where it's basically the same temperature all year round. I guess their seasons would be just a rainy season versus a dry season, but it's essentially the same all year round.
Yeah, I agree, Umberto. Yeah. There you go.
Nothing slaps there. That's funny. To Iowa. It's not that I've heard bad things about Iowa, but that's part of my point, which is no, you're never going to hear anyone brag about Iowa.
Yeah.
And people that have experienced Iowa, they just want to get out of Iowa.
Yeah, it's
And I
better for
think,
me. The less people that go there, the better for me.
yeah,
So actually, that's what I'm
you
looking
like
for.
that. You do
Yeah.
not like the urban
No.
lifestyle, and I don't either.
Yeah.
I prefer suburbia.
Yeah.
Whenever I tell people I'm from Rhode Island, they're like, "Oh, I love New York." I'm like, "No, that's Long Island." Yeah, bingo.
That's pretty funny. Actually, there's a when we went to visit
That's really funny.
when I went to Rhode Island with my coworker, we cracked jokes. Like as soon as we got off that plane, we're like,
Yeah,
I wonder if we take too many steps forward if we're going to cross the whole state.
yeah,
Yeah, because it's so tiny. But it's pretty small.
yeah. Yeah, I wonder how many people confuse Rhode Island with Long Island. I never really thought about that. And I wonder if you were there long enough, Jeff, where you have an accent. Like, for example, I know based on what part of New York you were raised, you're going to have a New York accent, or you can. But I've never heard, once again, just like I've never known anyone from Rhode Island. But I'm curious if they have a specific type of accent to their speech. Possibly the government has stuff in Iowa that is busing. Possibly. Based on our government, I suspect they have something everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere. And then if it's not everywhere, it's going to be somewhere else everywhere. So,
All right, I'm gonna go move on to the next video.
yeah, now that I just disparaged this guy, because I don't know about you, Sean, but sorry, but that last video, did it not appear that he just started busting out on a completely dirty vehicle? And I get it that he wiped it down first, but it looked like he just sprayed and started claying it without even wiping off the superficial dirt.
Yeah, I mean it's a short, so it's limited to what I can see, but I think they're just for show. But I could be wrong.
All right, well, we'll move on.
Yeah, I don't like to talk crap on anyone if I don't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you are more of a rule follower than I am.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not that I enjoy talking crap on people. I just like to keep it real, which I don't even like that saying, like, "Ooh, let me keep it real." Because when I hear someone say that, it's kind of like saying, like, "Well, to be perfectly honest with you," because the moment they say that, I instantly think, oh, because that suggests then that you weren't perfectly honest with me in every other interaction I've had with you, because you now just clarified, like, oh, in this moment, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, as opposed to all the other moments where I was less honest than you.
Well, make it simpler for you. Is I don't have enough information to make a decision on what I'm seeing. So based on what I'm seeing,
Well, okay, I know where you're headed. So scroll back to it, and the information's right there on camera, because that's what I'm asking you. Like, can you go back to that short? It looks like that hood is dirty.
Let's show you
dirty.
how to polish a car that's older
I
than
see
you.
what
First
you're
things
saying.
first, we need to clay bar.
It's not. One side is already clean, the other side is dirty.
But look at that hood. I mean, it looks
Oh,
like
yeah, the
that
hood,
hood
yeah.
is filthy.
The hood
Spray?
is, but not.
But okay. So
Glide.
I'm now looking at it for a second time, and it
And
does
finally,
look like the
we
fender
wipe.
was pre-cleaned.
Yes, he already.
Okay, so now we both
Now
know.
it's time to
I
polish.
wanted
We'll
to
grab
confirm.
our orange pad, grab your C4 compound, 5 dots,
1, 2,
He's
3,
using
4.
the
blotch it
chemical
out,
guys,
then
Yeah.
we spread it out.
which is ironic. Chemical guys is so well known,
And then we work it in.
and
on
that
speed
buffer
76.
will work. But I personally think it's one of the worst engineered buffers ever. Even though in one of my videos, I said it's a good place to start. What I really should have said is it's an acceptable place to start, because it's an entry-level buffer. You're not going to break the bank with it. And most guys are going to buff their car one time and call it quits. And the buffer's going to sit in their garage for the next 20 years and collect dust, and they're never going to touch it again. So why overthink it? So that was me. And I think I covered most of that in the video. I'm pretty confident I did. But honestly, compared to how popular their products are, I just would love to ask the owner, which I do know one of the owners. Of course, they've probably been bought out by some other company at this point. It's like, dude, how come you guys don't come out with like at least just a more quality entry-level buffer? There's so many buffers now that you can choose from, and that one's just kind of funny. I mean,
Well,
I think you used it, Sean. Do you remember? It's
Yeah.
got a digital, like there's no direct on-off switch. You just start there's a plus and minus sign, and it's got a digital readout for it. And I think it goes in increments of 20 points, whatever you want to call it. So you start out with a plus, and that's how you turn it. Like there's an on switch, but it doesn't go when you turn on the on switch. This on switch only engages it. And then you have to start pressing the plus sign for it to start ramping up to the speed you want. And it just really seemed pretty awkward.
Yeah, I think Chemical Guys. Before you say that, let's Umberto respond to Umberto.
Top Star Auto Detailing. That's exactly what some of my cousins say to uneducated people. What did Top Star say? Did we read that?
Yeah,
about New York?
About Long Island.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. But
So
do you remember trying the Chemical Guys buffer, Sean?
Yeah, I own one. So what I was going to say
Did I give it to you?
No, I bought it.
Oh.
So not that one, but I bought like a beginner one, like an entry level one.
Well, I think Chemical Guys only has one, and you're looking at it in that video.
No, they have
they have different ones now?
They have different ones. When I went to buy it, there was 3 different ones.
Really?
And yeah, there was entry, and there was mid, and then there was the advanced one was pricier. It was like $500. So
well, finally, because I know when I was building my websites and
Yeah.
I was talking about polishing for like first timers, whatever, and I would give links to Amazon. That was the only buffer they had available. But in their defense, that was quite a few years ago. So
They
in fact, can you pull up in a separate window without losing your place, Amazon, and look what Chemical Guys has going on with buffers these days? Because I am curious now that we've broached the subject.
Yeah, 1 second.
There's the word du jour, broach.
On.
Oh yeah, Umberto is he's on the same page as you, Sean. He's thinking they have 3 also.
Yeah.
Yep. See?
Yeah.
I have this thing called a life, and I don't actually spend all my days thinking and pondering and musing over the subject of detailing. Not to suggest that if that's what you choose to do, that you don't have a life, because at the end of the day, it is your life and you get to do what you want with your life. I just know I have plenty to occupy my life. See, every one of those pictures looks the same.
They're different packages.
They're all torque. Okay, so there's part of the confusion is they look so similar, but now that I'm really scrutinizing them, I can see, for example, that very top left corner one.
Yeah.
That looks like it's the most basic entry level one. Honestly, the price would dictate that, but that's $180. The one right next to it is $139.
Well, I'm gonna look for the actual polishers, not the
kits.
Yeah, and when I do that, Jeff just mentioned, just put a comment in.
The only difference between that buffer and a bucket of crap is the bucket. That's funny.
All right, let's see. They have.
Yeah, I only bought one so I could demo it and do a review on it, kind of. Mostly it was for my website, because I was trying to source out different entry-level buffers for beginners.
So they have more than 3 now. These are all the ones they have. So they have 7.
7? Wow. But wait, are you see, you're on Chemical Guys webpage, so that suggests what I'm looking at is that they're a distributor for Rupes now.
Oh, okay, I see. Okay,
see, those are
right.
Rupes.
Yeah, so there's 1, 2, 3,
5.
4, 5. Yeah.
And they're all torque.
Yeah, torque is the one that I have. The one that I have is, I think, is this one right here. This one.
See, it's hard to tell because that looks like the one I have.
Yeah.
I would have to look at the top of it to see the digital. Well, it says right there on checkpoint number 2, digital display and speed adjustment button often offer precise control with 6 speed settings, which is funny. It's like, precise control. It's like, yeah, it's precise. It's also very limiting because you can't fine tune it if you wanted, if we're going to play this game. And that says 220 volt. That must be for people across the pond, because we're not a 220 volt society, at least here in the USA.
Yeah, I don't know.
So they may have 5 buffers, but one of them is actually just wired so that it can handle like European current of 220 volt.
Yeah, mine is a wired one. Mine is not a battery pack.
Well, no, I'm talking about is the amperage,
outlet.
yes, the current.
Yeah.
So I just know, like in UK, because I live there, they operate on 220, and I'm pretty certain the rest of Europe does. And I know there's other countries, I believe, maybe South America. Do you know? I wonder if they operate on 220.
I don't know if it's 220. I know it's definitely a different one in here.
7 already. Dang. Well, we stand corrected though, Umberto, because 2 of those are Rupes. So I'm curious when they became a distributor for Rupes.
I'm sure Umberto will let us know. He always does. But yeah, that's crazy, because when I bought it, there was 3 of them. So now there's 5.
Okay, so do this. I'm trying to find the most expensive one. They've got a Torque 220, which I suspect is that 220 current. So don't click on that. But they've got a Torque 15 DA, 15 millimeter long throw, random orbital. So it's $269.
Yeah.
Hang on. 10FX. Okay, so there's 2. They've got a couple of 220 volts. So see, that's a little confusing to me. The Torque 15 DA, because they call it a long throw, but it's still a 15 millimeter. In my opinion, I thought the long throw were 21 millimeter. But honestly, when it comes to chemical guys, as I've said, they've got a lot of good products, but man, just their marketing and the way they labeling, it's just, I find it so confusing and frustrating and so much hype. But that's just my opinion. Hey, Sean, this is off topic, but why are our little thumbnails, like sometimes our names are scrolled right across our mouths, and then sometimes they disappear?
Yeah, it's just the update. I have no control over it.
Well, no, but just like a few minutes ago, they were gone.
Yeah, that's because I put the
like right now it's gone.
Yeah.
Why is it gone?
Yeah, because there's the chat thing is in here. Do you see the thing I just put in?
Yeah.
And as soon as I remove it, it comes back on. I can actually remove that if you don't want names on there.
Yeah, I mean, I say, because I don't know, it seems kind of silly. Well, in that perspective, you can actually see our mouths moving, but when it's covered, you don't see anything.
There you go. I fixed it.
So, yeah, click on the 269 buffer.
Umberto's talking on.
Wow, Rupes now has distributors everywhere. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I mean, they make some really good machines.
Right, he doesn't like Rupes.
They are fine to handle, but finicky. I wonder when you say finicky, Umberto, I wonder what you mean by that. As in, you've had problems with the machine itself, as in like faulty problems, or finicky when you're actually using it? I lost my favorite set of hair buzzers to that damn 220 current in Bulgaria. That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, that must have been a little bit of a rude awakening. So Bulgaria has 220, which is part of Europe. I think Bulgaria would be considered Eastern Europe.
Yeah, I wonder what
next to maybe Hungary.
Lima, Peru.
Maybe it's north of Hungary.
Voltage.
Anyhow, what are you looking for? If Peru has 220 current?
Yeah, it's 220.
Yeah. I think a lot of part of the world does have it. But here in the U.S., it's kind of ironic. You know, we're the leader of the free world, as we call it. But we do a lot of things that are backwards. Like we drive on the opposite side of the roads, our language, how about like one of my pet peeves is we did not adopt the metric system when it comes, numbers, measurements, weights, and we still have this old, and the metric system makes so much sense. It's so logical. It's all based on units of 10. Like who the hell was around that round table that said, no, I like this more confusing way that's illogical. Let's stick with that. And then in 50 years from now, we're going to kick ourselves in the teeth because we regret not adopting the metric system. It's lame. Like, for example, on car channels, when they're reviewing cars and they'll talk about the speed, they're constantly saying kilometers, like 220 kilometers per hour or whatever it is. And then you got to try to convert that to miles per hour. And it's just confusing. I like Flex a lot. Yeah, I like Flex too, Corum. I would say I'm also a big Milwaukee fan. I mean, in general, I'm going to keep things very general right now, but in general, I feel like Milwaukee really makes some quality tools. And not only do they make quality tools, but I feel like they really put a lot into their design so that it's a really quality user experience. That's what I would say, really quality user experience. And details, I would add that too, that they also nail the details. So these things that most guys would probably consider trivial things, whether it's their screwdriver, something as rudimentary as their screwdrivers to their buffers that they make for our industry. I really do feel like they nail the details and the user experience. How about that? There's my big endorsement for Milwaukee.
Cool. We actually have questions. So
I have a Rupe's Bigfoot. First one gave out after 18 months. Was great while it lasted. I replaced it with another one. You know what? Coincidentally, Jeff, I have two Rupe's, 5-inch pad and what's the other one? 6.5-inch pad. One's a short throw, one's a long throw. And if I am correct, I'm pretty sure the short throw is considered 15 millimeter and the long throw is 21 millimeter. And I even think they have even a super long throw now, but point is my 15 millimeter, it just stopped working one day and I have very little use behind it. And I've yet to tear it apart and figure out why it won't work. So I don't know if that's kind of a common theme with Rupes. I don't know. Once again, I don't have time to troll the forums and see what the consensus is.
You have a bunch of them. Didn't you have like
friggin' Imperial System? Yeah.
Didn't you have
John?
was it Max Shine or something like that? Didn't you?
I have like 3 of their videos. I have 3 of their buffers.
Yeah, because I remember you got one for free, right?
I have probably got at least 3 buffers from Max Shine for free.
Yeah, because I remember because you let me borrow it. I actually got to borrow it. I get to detail with it. I didn't want to give it back.
Because you liked it so much, or you're just being selfish?
No, I liked it.
Huh.
So, well, the one you let me borrow it, and then but it's okay. Here's
Wait, I'm just gonna work off of Jeff's Imperial System. So I looked it up real quick so I could speak intelligently about it rather than just pulling things out of my ass. Imperial System is the measurement system that originated in Great Britain. Makes sense. In the early 19th century, formalized by Weights and Measures Acts of 1824 and 1878. It has to do with units of measurement such as inches, feet, pounds, gallons, and tons for measuring length, mass, volume, and other quantities. Oh, wait, countries of use, primarily used in the United Kingdom, United States, Liberia. Oh, and Myanmar. Man, I am really having difficulty on these tongue twisters. Myanmar, which is actually, I think that's part of Indonesia or Malaysia. No, I think Malaysia was maybe Myanmar or vice versa. They do some name changes. Anyhow, so very little of the world uses the imperial system. So well put there, Jeff. Peru, Argentina, and Chile is 220. Well, all right. Now we know. How about the rest of the country, Humberto? Do you guys ever find a use for a rotary in your day to day? Well, I feel like that'd be a discussion based on, do you find a use for a polisher on a day-to-day. And so I'm not exactly sure what you mean by that, because in simple terms, that's probably a debate on the benefits of a rotary versus a dual action or a random orbital dual action. I'm not really sure what that question. I just know that, which might not even be anything to do with your question, quorum, is the fact that I taught beginners, or let me illustrate this differently. In my world, the less I use the buffer, the better. The less I use the buffer, the more I found I was more profitable, which seems kind of ironic or maybe counterintuitive to guys that are beginners, because when you go on social media, so many people, like that little short that you were showing, Sean,
Yeah.
they want to glorify polishing cars and glamorize it, like, oh, this is the best, I want to do high-end paint correction, and that's where the money's at. And I always take issue with that, because I price my polishing pretty high, and it really is so much work. And at the end of the day, I just found that I was more profitable in other strategies that I had developed in my own business than I was polishing cars. So my talk track for beginners was, A, you don't actually have to know how to use a buffer to start business. B, you can have a very successful business and never even own a buffer. And C, I found that I'm more profitable by staying away from the buffer. And that has to go with what I call presentation. Because let's say you have a customer that wants their car polished, at least they think they do. And they've got this vision in their head of what their car is going to look like once it's polished. The problem is most customers do not understand what polishing is and what the trade-offs are. And many detailers don't. They just think, well, what's the trade-off, Darren? You're going to get some super shiny paint. It's like, yeah, but you're also going to thin out the clear coat. And you're like, well, not really. I mean, it's so, what's the word I'm looking for? It's so insignificant. It's like, well, sure, if you can do a light polish job, it's going to be pretty insignificant. But honestly, when you're having a discussion like that with a customer, generally it's because their paint looks crappy enough where you're not going to be able to just polish it insignificantly. You're going to have to go in and really do some heavy lifting. And so you are going to thin out the clear coat. And clear coat is really, really good. And part of clear coat being good is literally how thick it is. So the thicker it is, the more it can absorb the UV and the infrared lighting from the sun. And so there's chemicals in clear coat that do that, but also the thickness is a huge determinant of how effective that clear coat is in protecting the base coat. So the more you polish, the less protection naturally you're going to get from the clear coat. And so customers don't understand that. They just think, oh, I just want a shiny car. I'm willing to pay you some money to do it. It's like, okay, cool. But A, are you going to be able to maintain this finish once I've created it? And B, how long do you plan on having your car? And C, even if you told me like, oh, I only keep my car 3-ish years, it's like, okay, so that means that you're okay with kicking it to the curb to the next customer, and you don't care how much I thin out the clear coat as long as it is able to stay intact for 3 years while you own it. And I can just go down further down the list. The root base stall, and when you actually drop them, they don't work. That's funny. When you actually drop them, when you actually break them in half over your knee because you're so frustrated, they don't work. Please use imperial measurements. I have no idea what you're talking about. That's funny. And I know you do. Brazil is what? 127? I've never even heard of 127. It reminds me of that movie, Mr. Mom, with Keaton. Did you ever see that movie, Sean?
No.
What's his last name's Keaton. He was also one of the Batman.
Oh, Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton. He played in a movie called Mr. Mom. It was so funny.
Oh, I think I may have seen it. It sounds familiar.
It's kind of a cliched clip. I guarantee if you looked up on YouTube, you'd find it very easily. And so one of his neighbors comes over and he starts quizzing him about like doing some remodeling. And Keaton has no idea what the guy's talking about. He goes, "Oh, so what are you going to wire?" They're saying 120. He goes, "Yeah, 120, 121. He's just pulling numbers out of his butt.
Yeah.
Then in Peru, Brazil, and Chile, they use a Type-C plug. I know in Britain they use a different kind of plug, meaning you couldn't even fit an American plug in one of their plugs. It's got like 3 funky prongs to it.
Yeah.
Colombia, Venezuela, Costa Rica, and Ecuador use 120. Oh, interesting. Okay. I bought the Griots for myself, cheap, good warranty, good enough for me. Jimbo Slice. I don't know if
No.
you've been here before, Jimbo Slice,
No.
because there was a
I don't think so.
no, I don't think he has. So welcome, Jimbo Slice. And yeah, Griots. I actually started, I think the very first buffer I bought was a Griots Garage, which is their entry level one. And that thing honestly was a workhorse. I used to use it not only from polishing paint, I would use it to sand down headlights when I'm doing headlight restoration, to sand away all the oxidized coating, the oxidized clear coat that are on headlights. So yeah, that was, in fact, I have quite a few videos where I'm using that Griots Garage buffer in it, just their entry level. And it really, I mean, honestly, for the price, it really was pretty strong. Like I would rate that way better than the entry level of the Chemical Guys digital buffer. Quorum, I agree. I really only used a buffer on a day-to-day basis, working in a shop, doing high volume. Okay, so rotary. Yeah, if you're in a high volume shop, I don't see how you're going to get away with using a dual action, because a rotary in a high volume shop, it's not about quality, it's all about quantity. And there's nothing that's going to go toe to toe against a rotary. If you know what you're doing, and even if you don't know what you're doing, they're just going to just outwork a dual action every day, all day long. I mean, just hands down, there's no comparison. Well, when we polish, we are degrading the clear coat. Yes, we are. I mean, we degrade it before we restore it. And how I describe it is that you're literally scratching your way to perfection by using abrasives and the pads and the movement of the buffer to scratch your way to perfection. Ceramic coatings have brought about polishers and polishers, I think, in general. Yeah, they've definitely, I guarantee ceramic coatings has been good for the whole polisher market, because I don't know too many guys that are applying ceramic coatings without doing some kind of polish work to the paint first. Same when people want us to remove a scratch, and we just can remove clear coat around or diminish clear coat around the scratch so it's seen better. Yeah, and I think I know what you mean there, Humberto. I'm actually reading it again because I think you have a typo in there, 1 or 2. Like maybe you meant to say can't remove clear coat or round or diminish clear coat around the scratch so it's seen better. I mean, you could just be being sarcastic, meaning like, oh yeah, let me polish the paint and I'll work around the scratch.
I think that's what you meant, because if you look at the emoji,
Yeah, I know he's being silly.
He's being silly, yeah.
But with that said, is I'll add this, and it's a disclaimer I add to my customers, because I never tell a customer that I'm going to make their paint perfect and it will be completely blemish free and scratch free. And I've never had a customer ask me to do that, but most of my customers in general are pretty ignorant. They don't know all the nuances of polishing paint. And so what I illustrate to them, and this is part of managing their expectations, is I tell them that there will be scratches that will actually be more visible once I'm done polishing their car, because now that I have brought the paint to a much higher level of perfection, it's going to reveal certain blemishes that cannot be removed or that I am not being paid to remove. And so often they will be looking at their car, They're completely impressed by the results, but then they'll walk up to an imperfection, a blemish, a scratch, and it's kind of like, oh, I didn't even know that was there. Almost insinuating like, oh, did you do something? It's like, well, no, other than make your car look way better. But that's the deal, is that a lot of the blemishes are disguised or camouflaged because their paint just looks crappy. And so when you polish it, what you're doing is you're creating a sharp contrast between these imperfections that you can't remove by polishing, by creating this ultra vibrant gloss on the paint itself. Does that make sense in your head, Sean?
Yep.
If you were my customer, would you understand what I meant when I said that?
Well, only because I already have knowledge about detailing, but I think
I
if
know, so it's hard for you to be truly objective, but do you think if
Yeah.
you were my customer and you were ignorant, would that make sense?
to a certain degree,
Oh, so I need to be better at my
Well,
description.
I think most people, after we talk too long, you lose
They
them.
tune out.
Yeah, they're out. I think they want the short, the Cliff Note version of what you said. If you, I mean,
I
'cause most
agree.
customers, yeah,
Except when it comes to their money. When their money's on the line, suddenly they are engaged and they want to know. That's been my experience anyways.
yeah.
Same when people want to use or use to remove a scratch, and we just can remove clear coat around or diminish clear coat around the scratch so it's seen better. That's the one I just read, right,
Yeah,
Sean?
yeah. You just that's
Oh.
okay.
I got the G8 and G9 headlights and do a correction on my old Civic. Well, right on. Yeah, I like their. Did you pull up the Griot's garage buffer? No, you didn't.
No, I just pulled a bunch of different ones.
Yeah.
But there's a Griot G9 right here.
Yeah, that's their boss. Their big. Oh, they're calling it the C9 or G9.
G9 because he said G8 and G9, so here's a G9.
Okay. Which I'm trying to think if I have one of those. I don't remember now. I have so many buffers sitting in my garage.
You do have that one. I've seen it.
I probably do. Yeah.
Yeah, because I've seen most of your collection. So.
Yeah.
Anyways, and then we got Umberto here, just talking about Griot's garage polishers.
Way better using Griot's garage. Yeah. I only tell customer that I will enhance it, but never correct it. If they want it correct, then should repaint it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one way to put it.
Yeah, that's what I used to do. I used to say that I do paint enhancement, but if you want to correct it, you go to the body shop.
Yeah. Do you use these new clay towels? Do you have a favorite brand? I don't have a favorite brand. I've certainly used them. You know what I used last was what I don't even know what the official word for them is, because the industry they can't all settle upon a dedicated word. So it's like a sponge. It's like a square block sponge. And I really liked it. And I don't remember who made it.
What was it? A clay
it's
sponge?
like a clay sponge or clay block. But actually start with detailing. Put in detailing first. Detailing clay block. Try that.
Okay.
And I like that better. Yeah, there it is. So in the top left-hand corner, that's exactly what mine looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really liked it. Oh, so that's a Chemical Guys.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure every manufacturer is probably making them at this point. And I would have to say that I probably prefer that over a clay towel. But the benefit of a clay towel is that you're going to be able to cover a larger area quicker. So I would say in my world, it would depend on my working environment. Because if I'm out in the direct sunlight and it's the middle of summer, it's going to be harder to keep the larger areas wet enough so that clay towel will slide across it. And so I'm going to get something smaller that I can manage better with my hand. And so I would probably switch to the clay block. But if I was working in the middle of wintertime, even though I was in direct sunlight, knowing that I'm not worried about the liquid lubricant or the liquid I'm using, as a lubricant drying up very quickly, I probably would go with the towel because I know that I can spread my hand out on it and cover a bigger area with the towel. It's like people asking about the new ceramic coatings that self-heal. Huh, interesting. There are a lot of them that already do that and don't use that as a point of sell pitch. You know, that's self-healing. I mean, car manufacturers were starting to come out with that with their paints. But now that you say that, Humberto, I feel like somehow that disappeared. And I don't really know what happened to that technology when it came to paints. Because that was, you know, the talk, the buzz, like, ooh, manufacturers are going to come out with self-healing paint, which if I was correct, it doesn't truly self-heal. I think you still have to take like a heat gun to it to kind of break down the chemistry a little bit so that they can essentially kind of fill in the scratches. What are you pulling up here? Let's see. The Rag Company Ultra Clay Scrubber Fast Removal Paint Contaminants later. Yeah, where's the picture of it though? Like click on the icon where it shows the actual scrubber. Oh. I've never used that. I've never even seen it. I suspect it's the same type of material, which is like a rubberized type of material. And that actually looks like it could kind of be more beneficial because it allows, you know, it's got those grid where it allows some of the spent material to kind of settle into the grid area, the recesses of that grid. I don't know if that's making sense. So, dude, we're at a little over an hour, and I'm starting to fade because I'm still working through these symptoms of this cold, and my my head is getting so congested the more I talk. So let's finish up with a few more questions and then tap out, Sean.
Yeah, a couple. We'll just answer these and then we can move on.
I still have the Workhorse GG6, which I don't know the letter and number by name. I just know my pull-up Griot's Garage buffers, Sean.
Okay. DAs or
no, but pull down. Like, let me see those thumbnails, and I'll tell you which one. Scroll to the right if you can on the arrow. Yeah. Go again. They may not sell it any longer. I mean, it's pretty old. I don't see it. Scroll again. Yeah, I don't see it. It had a bail handle on it. It was a little.
Well, I can be more specific and actually put dual action polishers.
All right, try that. Yeah, I still don't see it. It's probably been retired. I mean, we're talking. This is over 10 years ago.
Oh yeah, it's probably gonna be gone.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it, but that thing was a work. I still have it to this day. I mean, as far as I know, it still works.
Okay,
Anyhow,
comments here. We'll just go through them.
Rag Company, maybe. Yeah, thanks. I think we tried that. Many customers want their paint looking like when they purchase their vehicle, and one can show them how crappy they are new from a dealership. I know, right? Even though it's a brand new car, people think like, oh, it's brand new, it's perfect. It's like, your paint is so not perfect. Here, let me show you what perfect looks like. It's the same material as the towels, I think. I think it is also. It's just this like rubberized material. Top Star, I've got to run, guys. Stoked to go live with you next weekend. I'll post on my community tab. Have a great night. Cheers. Right back at you, Top Star. And we're tapping out ourselves anyways. So, yes, those synthetic clay towels work. Yes, they do. I am a fan of them, but I like having a choice between a clay bar, a clay sponge, or a clay block, whatever you want to call it, and a clay towel. Every comparison video I've watched. Yes, not surprised. All right, Sean, thanks for your help tonight. And you guys, if you haven't given us a like, then why not? So give it a thumbs up, the video on the way out, and we'll see you guys at on the same bat channel, same bat time next week, Saturday at 6. Enjoy the rest of your week.
Later. Bye.